right. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to our Rhine Christmas Markets 2027 itinerary reveal here at Roaming Rich Through Travel. We are thrilled to have you all here. And I wanted to take a moment by starting out to just let you know who our team is. So I would like to introduce you to our team. So team, get ready to wave your hands in a second. So first of all, we've got me, Philip Archer, Chief Experience Designer here at Roaming Richly Travel. Sitting behind me that you cannot see is Kevin Boswell. A lot of you don't realize that Kevin actually was the very first credentialed Roaming Richly Travel experience designer, because when we were transitioning to an independent organization, we had to have an executive credentialed, and I had to stay at our old agency, and so Kevin became our agency. So he's the real deal, even though he does other things, full time. He's actually a credentialed travel agent, and Kevin actually does sell. I manage the bookings, but he actually brings them in. So he has the same requirements that the rest of our associates have as far as meeting them to maintain his credentials. In the middle there is beautiful Leanne. I'm not sure where Leanne is, but maybe she'll pop in. If not, if you're here for Leanne, I sent her a text and called her, but something must be going on. So you can't. Leanne cannot wave. Debbie Murphy, wave your hand, Debbie. Say hello. That's Debbie up there. Debbie was a long time customer. Well, all my associates have been customers at some point. So Debbie was a long-time customer, and when she retired, I encouraged her to come in and start her own travel business, and she is just doing great down in Houston, Texas, and we appreciate her so much. And then we have our very own, my little super co-host here, Scott Collin, who you've heard talking. And Scott is in our Dallas office right now, soon to be our European Union office in Porto, Portugal. So he and David are going to be moving to Portugal. They literally just got their apartment and did visa stuff just earlier this week. So later this summer, they'll be moving to Portugal. And he's just killing it in Dallas right now and continues to kill it. Scott's going to be one of those roving travel agents that sells travel while traveling. So moving right along, we are here to talk about Christmas markets of the Rhine. And so, there are many rivers around the world that you can visit. And most people think of doing it in the summer months because when it first started, it was really just seasonal. And as the market for river cruising has grown, and it's grown exponentially lately, the seasons are getting longer. We think that it won't be long before we have literally year-round river cruising on some of the rivers, like the Danube. The Danube almost has year-round cruising already, and they're moving in that direction. And in fact, I was just on the Danube in February, and normally, you think of like going river cruising and like starting in May and ending in December or January on most rivers, and it was exquisite. It was a wonderful trip. It was my 5th time to Budapest, my 4th time on the Danube, and I just never get tired of it. This is going to be on the Rhine River, which is it's a very long river, but generally where we're going to be is in Amsterdam and Germany, and then a little bit of Switzerland. It is one of the most famous rivers for Christmas markets, and it's also typically, if you're going to go river cruising, they say start on the Rhine or the Danube. Most people these days are more familiar with the Danube, but the Rhine was actually the biggie when river cruising really came out, and then they started seeing more into the Danube. The Danube's a lot larger, so they can put a lot more river boats on it. The cruise is going to be in 2027. It's going to be November 29th, my birthday, through December 6th, 2027, starting in Amsterdam in the Netherlands and ending in Basel, which will be transferring to Zurich for going to the airport. It's going to be on the Emerald Sun. For those of you who may not be familiar with Emerald, Scenic and Emerald is a cruise line that is owned by a family in Australia. So it's still family owned. They're actually ship builders. And so they build a lot of their own vessels. And they have scenic cruises and emerald cruises. Scenic and emerald both have river cruises, and they also both have yacht cruises. Scenic is going to be the higher end brand of the two, and it's fully all inclusive. For those of you who follow me, you saw me year before last on the Scenic Eclipse with Chef Tom Guterre from Top Chef Germany. He is their senior vice president of hotel operations, designs the menus for both lines, launches all the ships, and he was just recently launching the newest Emerald super yacht. But I've had the privilege to sail on Emerald on the Mekong, and Ellen and Kirk were there with us for that. And I also was on the Scenic Eclipse, which is their expedition super yacht. Just spectacular. That, if y'all remember following me along, that was a video where I was in my cabin and was, talking about, well, when I got on the super yacht, I was kind of hoping that I'd be able to show you what things were like. And it turned out that there were 2 hurricanes. And so I literally spent 8 days stuck on a super yacht, and I was complaining about being stuck on a yacht with a butler. And people just weren't having it. They were like, yeah, that must have been really bad. But it's a really incredible line. And Emerald will be the lesser inclusive part, but it's still very, very inclusive. And so we wanted to go with a product that would really kind of meet the most people, and not everybody wants an all-inclusive product. All right, so let's get into it. Where are we going? So we're going to start out in Amsterdam, and just so you know, to kind of put you on the calendar how this is going to work. 2027, Thanksgiving is on Thursday the 25th. And so the cruise does not start until Monday the 29th. So you can stay home for Thanksgiving. You can do Black Friday if you want to. I would highly recommend that you at least get out of town by Saturday, because it's a busy weekend, and that way you'll get there the night before in Amsterdam. But you could literally leave on Sunday, arrive in Amsterdam on Monday, and get on the boat and do the cruise. So you can do it either way you want. Kevin and I will be leaving most likely on the 26th, the day after Thanksgiving, arriving in Amsterdam on the 27th. And for people who want to do that, we will have activities on the 27th, 28th, and the 29th. 27th is basically going to be get there day. And so we will let people arrive, and then we'll probably do like a welcome dinner. We might do an evening tour of something. And then Sunday, I'll plan things. And then Monday, we can plan things as well. When we did this in Paris, everybody got off the ship in Paris, and we were transferring from one ship to another. Everybody got we checked out of the hotel in Paris, and then I had the luggage transferred to the ship, and that gave us the whole day of that first day when everybody else was just going and getting on the ship. We had a whole nother day to tour. So I'll plan it the same way, so that if you come in early, you won't have to worry about getting the luggage to the boat. We'll have a van come and get our luggage. We'll have somebody go with the luggage, probably me, to the boat to get them all ready to go. And then when y'all are through touring that day, y'all can show back up at the riverboat, and we'll be good to go.
We'll have a recommended hotel.
Yes, we'll have a recommended hotel. We'll have recommended tours. We'll have all of that. So it'll all be set up, and I'll work on that probably the first quarter of 27. I'll work on putting that together when we kind of have a better idea of how many people are going to go and how many people want to do the pre-tour. So we'll work it out that way. Day 1, we're in Amsterdam. We have an overnight. So day 1 is basically your arrival day. You check in to the ship around 4 o'clock, and then there'll be dinner on the ship. And then day 2, you'll have included tours of Amsterdam. Day 3, we're in Dusseldorf and Cologne. So morning in Dusseldorf, afternoon in Cologne. You've got included tours there. Day 4, Koblenz. There's included tours there. All of these obviously have a tour that includes the Christmas market in each of these cities. So that's a biggie. Mannheim will be day 5. Strasbourg will be day 6. Brissa will be day 7. And then we'll arrive in Basel on day 8. We'll have breakfast, and then they'll transfer us to the airport in Zurich to get our flights and stuff back home. to show you some of these beautiful sites. I didn't do all of them, but this is Cologne. So I want you to just think about some of the amazing things that you're going to be able to see. This is Koblenz, and there's the river right there. So you're going to be right on the river. Heidelberg, and one of the tours, Heidelberg is actually, I'm trying to remember which one of the ports, but it's out of one of the other ports, and you actually can go to Heidelberg Castle on tour. So it's just incredible. And then Strasbourg, you know, that Alpine village look, just an incredible city. And you know, you're looking at it now in the springtime. Can you imagine what it's going to be looking like for Christmas? It'll be just incredible. This is Breslau, another beautiful medieval town. My excitement about doing the Rhine, I've not ever done the Rhine, and my excitement is because it's really got all of these medieval old towns. It's very the towns along the way are very old, so you get that charm that you don't necessarily get. Like, you know, Vienna is fabulous, but it's also a big city, right? And so it's just a very different feel than when you go into somewhere like Breslau and it's like this medieval little town and there are no skyscrapers and things like that. What is included in your cruise? So you're going to get, you know, your 7 nights on the ship. You're going to have the cruise director. And so we have somebody dedicated just to us to make sure that we're happy the whole time. The Emerald cruise directors are amazing. I'm sure Ellen's going to nod her head about that because she's experienced it as well. Your tipping and gratuities are included. You'll have a walking tour of Dusseldorf. You'll have an orientation walk of Koblenz with the Christmas market, guided tour of Strasbourg with the Christmas market, guided visit to the Christmas market at Ravenna Viaduct is also available. That's a different tour. That is going to be spectacular, and there is a little bit of additional fee for that. You will have shore excursions are included everywhere, but they also have some special ones that you can pay a little extra and go on them, and I know that's one of them. You'll get a welcome and a farewell dinner on board. Your airport transfers to and from your ship, port taxes and charges. You will visit Amsterdam. You'll have the guided tour of the Cologne Old Town with a Christmas market visit, guided tour of Heidelberg with a Christmas market visit, guided tour of Breslau with a Christmas market visit, 20 meals, 7 breakfasts, 6 lunches, 7 dinners, complimentary Rhine beer and soft drinks served with lunch and dinner on board. There's also kind of like a cocktail hour. So there's, and we actually, one of the benefits of when the group makes is we can also include a beverage package. And so for those of you who enjoy that, we'll have a complimentary beverage package for people so that you can not have to pay for drinks the rest of the day. If you're not one that likes beverages, let me know and we will arrange for you to have some other wonderful little perk. So that's what's included in your Emerald experience. The ship, this is the Emerald Sun. So this is actually what it looks like on the river. For those of you who have not been on on a riverboat, they're long and skinny because they have to be able to go through those little, you know, tunnels in the bridges to get, you know, from one place to the other. So it's not like a giant cruise ship where, you know, you've got these huge, you know, ginormous suites and stuff. They keep the cabins on the smaller side because you're never in it. If you look at this, you see the people on the top deck. You'll be out on deck. You'll be out front. If you look at the ship and you see the dark windows just under the front of the top deck, that's the lounge. And so when you're not on deck, you're usually in the lounge hanging out, or, you know, most of the time you're not even on the ship. It's really like your floating hotel to get from one place to the other. But when you are on the ship, it's very comfortable. There's only going to be, you know, 180 maximum guests. So you'll probably know everybody that is on the ship by the time the end of the cruise. You'll have met them, found out where they're from, their kids. You'll see pictures of their dogs. It's a very friendly environment. And so it's a great way to travel, and it's never really crowded because you're dealing with less than 200 people.
And it's a very international clientele. That's what's so neat too, Philip, I think.
Yes, definitely. And it's even more so on Emerald. So you do have a lot of Aussies because it's an Australian brand owned by an Australian company. So that'll be a nice little bonus. If you've never traveled with Aussies, get ready to hear Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. And they're a lot of fun. The way the ship is laid out is you can see here, this is a side view at the top. You've got the sun deck on the top, and then you've got your other three decks from the below the sun deck. You can see the windows going down. And the sun deck has deck chairs and your navigation bridge. So that's where the captain actually drives the ship. You've got the Sky Barbecue for if weather is good and they can do a barbecue outdoor, they'll do the Sky Barbecue. You've got a golf putting green. You've got a game area. There's a retractable glass roof over the pool in the back, and a walking track. So you can do everything that you do at home on your boat. So, don't worry about if you're wondering if you're going to be able to get your steps in. Number one, you're going to be in Europe, you're going to get your steps in. But number two, if you really, really want to get more steps in, you can do the track on the top of the ship. And lots of people do it. There will be a fitness person on board that will do stretching classes, exercise classes. They do the bike tours, all of that stuff. It's really, really great. When you walk onto the ships, Emerald ships are very contemporary. So you may have seen other river cruises that they're very dark and dark wood and things like that. Emerald really focuses on a more contemporary environment. They're very into making sure that you can see everything. So lots of big windows, very light, bright, airy. It's not stuffy. It's not formal. It's very comfortable, very inviting. It's just a really great experience. This is the reception area on board, so it kind of gives you an idea of what an Emerald ship looks like. This is the Reflections restaurant. So again, very light, very bright. You've got fabulous views along the river whenever you're dining. The terrace is the restaurant on the front of the ship. It'll serve a little bit smaller menu, tends to be a little bit healthier menu, lighter fare. And when it's beautiful weather, it's great to just sit outside and enjoy your breakfast, lunch, or dinner. There is a wellness spa and fitness center. So, they're not huge, but if you are really, really into, your massages or your workout, you can do them on the ship. The spa is an additional fee for the treatments there. The gym is included. This is something I really love about Emerald as well. So they have heated pools on their ships. So, it's going to be winter. We're probably not going to be sailing with the retractable roof open, but it's a heated pool. So you can get in the pool, enjoy yourself during the day, and at night it turns into a movie theater. So literally, if you go back and see the pool here, the deck slides out over the pool, and then you have a movie theater, and it's so fun. They bring popcorn. It's really great. They really do it well. And they usually do like theme movies for whatever itinerary. When we were in Cambodia and Vietnam, I'm trying to remember what we watched, but we had so much fun we don't even remember the movie. So it's just so neat sitting out on the back deck doing that. When you're talking about what your staterooms and stuff are going to look like, this is, one of the floors where the staterooms are. The horizon deck is going to be the deck right underneath the sun deck. So it'll be the highest deck on the ship. On that, you're going to have panorama balcony suites. You're going to have ground balcony suites, and you're going to have the owner one bedroom suites. There's 4 of those. When you're looking at pricing, you'll notice it's like, well, that's the same cabin. What's the difference between a category A and a category B? It's what floor you're on. And so, if you like being higher up, then, definitely look at, those categories on that top deck. I will tell you, I've done over 80 cruises. I've done lots of river cruises. Kevin and I love being close to the water. And so we typically get, just what others call a French balcony. They call it the panorama balcony deck. We usually get one of those cabins, and on the lower floor, because we like being able to, like, look out and be close to the water. So it's totally up to you. The lower the difference in price is basically what deck you're on. So you pay more to be on the higher deck, you pay less to be on a lower deck. On that, you've also got the bar and lounge at the front of the ship. And then at the back, you can see the stairwell down to the pool deck. On the Vista deck, you're going to have your Emerald Panorama balcony suites again. And then you're going to have your, those are all Emerald Panorama balcony suites. They are two different categories. So the other price point difference is going to be if you're closer to the front of the ship or you're closer to the back of the ship. So if you want to walk less, you pay a little bit more to get closer to the lounge. But that's really just how they break down. The next deck is the Riviera deck. And if you'll remember, when you were looking at the ship, this is the deck that had the little portholes towards the back, and that's where the crew are. And then they had the little rectangular windows towards the middle. Those are these cabins. So these cabins actually have windows, but they're also partially below the water level. So if you're not tall, you may have to stand on something to see out the window. And you're going to be looking out like right at water level. So they'll be just above the water level. But if you like, a good night's sleep, they're very quiet, they're dark. If you'd like an inside cabin on a regular cruise ship, you'd probably like these cabins as well. And then there's also 2 single staterooms. Those are really small, but if you know somebody who's a solo and they want a small little cabin for themselves, there's only 2, so we'd have to see if they're available. But they do have solo staterooms on them as well. Did you want to pop in, Scott?
I was just gonna say they're also called the duck suites.
The duck suites.
Look
Yes,
right
if
now.
you're tall. Right? Yeah, you can see the ducks on the water. Or when we were on the Mekong, you see all the stuff floating by. It was really cool. The beautiful plants and lilies. If you're talking about what does this cabin actually look like, I will tell you, Emerald's cabins tend to be a little bit larger. So if you like Scott Scott's been on Viking, and I've been on Viking, my very first cruise. Everybody knows who Viking is. Their cabins are typically a little bit smaller. So Emerald does give you a lot more cabin space than the others. And so their leading categories, the D's and E's, are 162 square feet, which is a decent size for a river cruise. It's close to what you're going to see. It's bigger than some cruise ships cabins, but it's closer to what you're going to see on a cruise ship than other river ships. And you can see the little window there. So if Vicky was in this room, she'd probably have to stand in her chair to look out the window. I'm not making fun of her. I'm just being factual. This is the panorama balcony suite. This is 180 square feet. So you're like, what is a panorama balcony suite? So if you see where the chairs are on the little wood floor over there, and then you've got that glass wall, that glass wall actually comes down. The top of it comes down so that you can stand there and you've got a balcony. So it becomes your balcony. Emerald actually was one of the first to introduce this, and everybody else is copying them now. And so it's become quite popular, and you're even seeing it on cruise ships these days. So it's really, really a great innovation, and we really enjoy it. So that way you're not losing space to have a balcony. When you get into the ground balconies, these actually suites are 210 square feet, and they actually have a walkout balcony. So as you can see there, you can open up your glass doors, they slide over, and you've got a full balcony out there that you can sit out there and enjoy your breakfast or what have you. Then we get into the big ones, the owner's 1-bedroom suites, 315 square feet. I will tell you, 315 square feet on a riverboat is fabulous. So if you want a suite, I will not discourage you from getting a suite. Kevin and I have been on suites many, many times. What we typically do is we book our normal, panorama balcony. And then once, we get on the ship, we like to save the best cabins for our clients. So when we get on the ship, if there are suites available, we will ask for, can we upgrade to a suite? I will tell you, if you're like not sold on buying a suite right now, the best way to get a suite, if they have them available, is to book them when you get on the ship and say, if you have suites available, please let us know. They'll go ahead and get you set up. They may put you in the lounge and say, let's get everybody checked in. But once they do, they'll let you know if there are suites available. And if they are, they will take you to suite, show it to you. And you're not going to pay full price to do the upgrade. Many times you pay like 50% less than it would have been to book that cabin in advance. So don't go tell all your friends this secret. Okay,
The
this
only
is a secret you got here at Roaming Richly Travel.
yeah, the only caveat I'm gonna warn people about is that the Christmas market is such a short season. It is extremely popular,
It is.
and we, we didn't see. We were on Viking, but there were no empty cabins on our ship in
Yep.
Christmas time.
It's well, and right now river cruising is so. There's only 27 cabins available to the public on this ship right now, and this is April of 2026, and this cruise is November of 2027. So we have an allotment that's been pulled for us. But if the general public was looking at this cruise, there's only 27 cabins available on it right now. And so we're very, very lucky to get this. And it will sell out. If you want a suite, you should buy it because you want to be happy. If you don't necessarily want one, but you think you might, you'll get dibs on them just like everybody else. And we get on some ships and there's a suite available. We get on some ships and they haven't had suites for months. So it's just a shot in the dark. So if you do want, if you want a specific cabin, it's better to just deposit that cabin and then hope for doing an upgrade when you get on the boat. Pricing. What is the pricing? Okay, so this is going to show you what pricing is on out there to the to the rest of the world, which is full fare. Y'all aren't paying that, so ignore it. And then you're going to see select fares, and then you're going to see preferred fares with air, and then preferred fare cruise only. So your select fare is basically going to be our fare with the groups, the group benefits on it. Okay. And so that is a fare where you put up a deposit within 48 hours of, of us pulling a cabin for you. It's a $500 deposit. And then 120 days prior to sailing, you pay your final payment. So you pay 500 now, and then your final payment would be like July of 2027, into July 2027. The preferred fares are, I'm making sure I got this right. Yes. So the preferred fares are, you actually put your deposit up. So we pull a cabin for you. You put your deposit up within 48 hours. And then, depending on when you book, right now, 15 months out, you're going to have to make your final payment. So basically, they're giving you a 15% discount for giving them your money early. Okay. In 15 months out from then will be August of this year. Okay. If you do that fare after August, your full payment will be due within 30 days. But you'll be able to take advantage of that preferred fare by paying in full early by doing that. And then you can also add air to preferred. And so basically you're going to pay $4.99 for your air. This is economy air, but it's $4.99. The maximum ticket value is $2,000. And what that means is you're going to pay $4.99 for your air, and they're going to get you air. But if for whatever reason that air is more than $2,000, you're going to have to pay the difference. They don't get Scenic and Emerald do not do bulk air because they don't like having people unhappy when those changes. So their air is all going to be just typical off the market air like you would be doing yourself. But if you do want air, you can reach out to your your experience designer, and they can help you decide, what that looks like. But it is, it's a great program for them to have, especially with air being really expensive right now. So if you're looking at that, you can do it. You can also upgrade that air, and of course, again, you just pay the difference between, economy and premium economy, or economy and business, whatever you like. So just let your experience designer know if you're interested in the air. So by being in a group, we get $300 per person savings. We get $75 additional to that because we're a key account for them as a member of Westa. And we also, right now, because we belong to ASTA, we also have a $200 per person discount if you book and deposit by April 30th. Okay, so if you deposit your cruise by April 30th, you're going to get an additional $200 off of this pricing. That's only till April 30th. Don't call us on May 1st and say, can I still get that? Doesn't work that way. This is just, we're super lucky to have it. We get it because of our participation with ASTA and the River Cruise Expo with ASTA. And so that's, how it works. But these fares are going to remain static. If for some reason there was a sale and the fare was the same or better, then you would get the sale fare and they would just move you into the group. But one thing that I love about Scenic and Emerald is they just don't do that. So they're not going to undercut these fares. So you won't have to worry about it. You're going to have the best price out there. All right. How do you get in here? All right. $500 per person. It is non-refundable deposit. So you want to make sure that you also talk to your experience designer about insurance. We highly recommend insurance. We don't require it, but we highly recommend it. We will ask you to confirm in writing that you don't want it. But these days, before the pandemic, 30% of our people bought insurance. These days, 70% of our people buy insurance. Kevin and I travel enough that we have an annual policy, so we always have insurance. But $500 per person, non-refundable deposit, final payment either 15 months prior, depending on the fare, or 120 days prior if you do the select. You just need to reach out to your experience designer, be that me, Kevin, Leanne, Debbie, or Scott, and we'll be more than glad to help you with that. And do we have any questions?
I have one comment real quick, Philip.
Sure.
On the $500, when you put your deposit down, there's a couple different options to insure that deposit. It's an interesting concept, and talk to your experience designer about those, because there is a way to pay, don't quote me on this, but it's $150 or something per person. And then if you had to change it, that rolls over to any future cruise on them.
Yeah. You can do the deposit, and if you do have to change, you can pay a penalty, and then they'll roll your deposit over a future credit.
Right, and you have to make that choice when you put your deposit down. So there's a couple little things that as we get through and do the actual booking, then those will come up. So just wanted to interject that.
Cool. Jade's got a question.
Jade actually has 3 questions, if I may.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't have this one till Scott, you just said what you said. So let me play that back and make sure I understand what you're saying. So one of my questions was, is the deposit refundable at any point? So you've already answered that the answer is no. If I am carrying my own travel insurance, like I do separately for all of our travel, and something happens, my own travel insurance covers everything just fine. I'm not sure I understand what you were saying, Scott, about that travel insurance.
Yeah, so basically Emerald offers you a fee on top of the $500. So if you pay that fee,
okay,
and don't quote me, I can get that number for you, Jade. Then at any time before you make the deposit and you make the final payment, then that deposit can be just automatically moved to a future cruise. It basically becomes a credit for you with them.
But I have to pay for that extra?
Yes, you have to pay for that extra.
It's basically, Jade, like you probably have insurance like we have, which is for specific reasons, right? And so it's like if somebody dies or somebody gets sick or things like that.
Right.
But what Emerald is offering is complete flexibility for an additional fee. So literally,
So I pay a little bit of extra money to make sure that for any reason I'm able to move my deposit to another cruise.
Within a
Yep.
certain amount of time, and I'd have to
Okay.
go over all the details with you on that. That's right.
Okay, perfect. That's
But-
now I understand that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you actually answered my question about the real balconies where we step out to, so I'm good with that. And then I'm so excited to hear about the pool, because that is just the pool / movie theater. And the fact that we're going to be going in the winter, is that, and I think what you said was the sun deck is open during the day. We're going to be able to be out there as much as we want to in spite of the weather and enjoying all the views, even in November and December.
You absolutely. David could talk to this. His favorite part of our cruise on the Rhine. What was it, David?
We when we went down, we saw all the castles
Mm-hmm.
And
on the Rhine, and we were all up on the top of the sun deck.
everyone was up there serving hot chocolate.
And the
You know.
cruise director was basically giving us a 2-hour presentation while we were up there.
Yeah, it was great.
So it's very cool.
Perfect.
you bundle up and you
Oh, yeah.
listen. Like I will never forget sailing into Budapest in January, freezing to death. I mean, it was so cold.
Air, it was so beautiful.
Yeah, at midnight. Yeah, and Kevin is like, yeah, we didn't care. It was so beautiful. It really was like, I was like, I don't care. And we had hot chocolate, and
Yeah.
so I mean, it was like they keep you comfortable.
And that middle Rhine is I mean, just do the research on it if you haven't. It is the most scenic castle river anywhere. I mean, there are like 20 different castles that are all just stunning all along there.
Well, and I will tell you, one of our friends, Scott, who you and David know,
Yeah.
which we were just with them last weekend, and she went on this exact itinerary on a different line, and she said exactly what you said, that the endless, it's just endless what you can see on the deck with the castles and stuff. I do have a follow-up though to something else. I think, Scott, that was you that said it. Now that I think about it, is you said something about if you're not big drinkers, that potentially, can you hit that again for me, please? I wasn't focused when you said that.
Yeah, we're one of the perks for being in the group is when the group makes, they give us amenity points, and we can
Mhm.
use that to buy things for the group. And so generally
Okay.
when we do a roaming with us group, then we will do the beverage package. And so we'll be able to throw that in. But I also know that there are a lot of people, that are not big drinkers. Vicky's not a big drinker. And so I don't want to penalize Vicky. And so, anybody who doesn't want that, just let us know and we'll figure out something else.
Okay,
So
thank you.
it's
Maybe some onboard
yeah.
credit in the
Just
spa.
to clarify, I'm a big drinker, just no alcohol.
Right. It's true.
And
Yes.
I did this itinerary the other way on a different cruise line, and it is spectacular. It is absolutely spectacular.
Great, thank you.
I'm super, super excited about it. Do we have any other questions? Do y'all see anything? Okay, cool. Well, then I'm gonna, if you have questions, just throw your little hand up and we'll jump out to it. But since we have some people here who have actually done this before, I want to get into that for just a second. So, who wants to go first, Scott or Vicky?
Go, Vicky.
I did the Basel to Amsterdam, and how this itinerary is laid out is looks much better because there's a little bit more time in Amsterdam, even without doing an extension, than I actually had, and I would have loved a little bit more time. And this really looks fabulous there, and there are some really different places that number one. I did some other ones, so because it was a different cruise line, that I'm glad I'm not going to have to repeat a bunch. But some of the highlights are there. I mean, Strasbourg, Dusseldorf, Cologne, those are all just fantastic places. And the history is just, you sail by it and it's wonderful. Now, I've also done a Christmas markets cruise around the same time of year, but it was on the Danube. And I can tell you, you can be out up on the deck. I'm sure that this line also has lap throws, and they'll bring you hot chocolate. I mean, you can be out with just, a nice, or it might be as warmer than we think. I took a lot more clothes than I actually needed, but that was okay. The markets, I'm sure that if the Rhine's anything like the Danube, they are just magical. You can actually find things that are made in the countries that you're shopping in. They're not all imported, especially in Germany. Especially in Germany, if you want to get heirloom Christmas markets for your family, that's an absolutely wonderful thing to take back. Nutcrackers that are made in Germany, that they are really, really nice. So this is kind of combining the Rhine, which I loved going the other way, with Christmas markets, which I loved on the Danube. So yeah, I'm excited. I've already deposited.
Yes, Vicky is already deposited. She was like, put my deposit down. So Vicky is literally my most traveled customer. So when Vicky retired from being a doctor, she said, Philip, I want to travel. And so we sit down every year and we plan out the next year. She's already booked for 2026. And so I was like, we better get this deposit. She had to cancel something to do this actually in 2027. So yeah.
And my I have some health challenges, but I saw one of my major docs today, and he goes, "You're going to live to be 100. Are you going to run out of money because the way you travel?"
Oh, that's great. Hey, I know Jonathan has done one. Oh, Jonathan, go for it.
If I can get off mute. Hey, yeah, I was just gonna pipe in because I did like Vicky, I did the reverse. I did from Basel to Amsterdam, but I was on the Emerald Luna, so I did want to kind of echo Emerald. I've done Amadeus and Emerald was by far the best that I've been on, food-wise, staff-wise. It was great. I'm kind of excited about this one because we got kind of stuck on the Rhine because the tanker had a little issue because the water was a little bit low. So we got stuck in some city but they bussed us wherever we needed to go. So they were like super great and accommodating. So there was a couple spots that we missed along the way, but yeah, I mean, Emerald was great. And I will say Strasbourg, they have the #1 Christmas market in all of Europe. So there's also a clock in the Notre Dame there that everybody needs to make sure and make plans to visit. It's a special extra ticket to go to, but I was just going to kind of pipe it on that because it's a great trip, but I'm excited for the other way. So that'll be nice.
Awesome.
That's great. Hey, Philip, can I share my screen because I'm going to do show
I
and
would
tell
love for you to share your screen. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I need to let you wait. Do I need to stop presenting or can you do it?
I think I can just do it.
Okay.
Let me, I'm going to do an entire screen and I'm going to share, which one am I sharing here? This one right here. Okay, great. I'm going to do a little show and tell. So for those of you who know me or anything, let's see, hopefully you can see, I'm going to show you some pictures from our cruise. We just went on the Rhine and the Moselle this past Christmas. So you're going to see some of those photos. But what I'm going to do is, we've plugged the first, which is Amsterdam, which I'm real excited about because you get a day there anyway. You stay there the very first night. But I'm going to plug Zurich. This picture right here is from one of 3 Christmas markets that we went to in Zurich. We stayed 2 nights in Zurich and had a blast. This is David. Yes, you can imagine what he's doing. He's got that good old fondue going. We had a blast. This was a great place that we found. This is in Basel. This is my first Christmas mug right here that you can see. Yep, with one of the Christmas pyramids. And you can see it's pretty warm there. We were there mid-December, and we took too many clothes, to be honest with you. But I would say go ahead and take too many clothes. It's okay. And then I think this is all in chronological order. So this, I think, is still Basel. And I'm not going to remember everything. This is Strasbourg.
Strasbourg.
Strasbourg is amazing. I mean, we probably will, once we get to Europe, go back there and just spend like 3 or 4 days. I don't know if David knows that yet. But anyway, just, I mean, it's beautiful. This, I believe, I think this may still be, I don't know. I'm not going to quote me. Don't quote me, but this is just some pictures. There's some of
you can see how all out they go, how Europe, like nobody decorates for Christmas like Europe.
Oh yeah,
Nobody.
no one at all. This is just one example of many of the little little stalls that we went to and saw. This again is, I don't know, I can't remember where this is. Mannheim, I think that is Mannheim. Mannheim is stunning. The Christmas one, you can just see it's packed. I mean, almost everywhere we went was pretty crowded. And the food, oh my gosh, you have a hard time eating off the ship because you know you're going to go back to amazing food there. But I think in Mannheim we actually we ate in the one of them we just scrapped the ship and just ate around at the markets one night. This is one of the pizza things that they made for us, and we tried all kinds of stuff. And then again, this is another pyramid. Oh my goodness, don't look at that. Don't look at that hat. We met like 4 young girls, and they all had hats on, and I was like, I want that hat. I want a hat like that. Where'd you get it?
Well, it's funny, Scott, when you were talking about, how crowded they are, they're crowded, but it's not like crowded like you think of being on a cruise ship in the Caribbean.
No.
It's crowded like with happy people who are glad to see you. And like, if you look confused, they'll go, do you need some help? Are you looking for something? I mean, it's just,
they love meeting you. And
yeah,
we met people from England. We met people from all over, just in the markets, and we came home with 7 or 8 mugs. You have to pack room to bring back mugs. And this was very unique. This was an alcohol-based, something like an eggnog-ish type thing. And I fell in love with it. It was great. So don't just think it's hot wine. That's not all you're going to have whenever you go on these. And that's it. I think this is just an example. Remember whenever I told you about 2 hours of seeing all the castles? You can tell David, I love to take the back of David looking at things. And so David really loved this part of it. And that's us in Koblenz. It's outside of Koblenz, isn't it? Or is it? This is actually one of the tours that they offer from Koblenz. It's another stop that we did on the Moselle, but it's that castle, and I can't remember the name of it, but I saw it in our brochure. So, okay, I'm done.
Cool. Well, so the last thing that I want to actually share with you guys is that so this is not just, we obviously, we work in the travel industry. I'm planning travel for people all day long. I actually have a book of about 800 households that I plan travel for. But a couple of times a year, we do what we call roaming with us. And we literally get together as a team and we curate a fabulous experience. And then we invite people to join us. And so it's hosted. So literally, I'm going to be on it. Scott's going to be on it. Leanne is going to be on it, and her kids, I think, are coming. And Debbie, have y'all made your mind up? Debbie's shaking her head yes. So
I might be taking my daughter. I don't know if Murphy's gonna go, but we have to leave him.
Well, Debbie's going one way or another, whether she has to leave her husband home or not. So that's great. We love to hear that. But the other thing that I want to say is when we have a large group with roaming with us, one of the things that I like to do is I like to do a surprise. And so I will figure out a time on the itinerary, on the cruise part, and I will come up with a surprise. And that'll be a special event, and everybody will be invited, and nobody's gonna know what it is. And so I would love for Vicky to share with the group what it was like pulling up to the Conde de Gamarich's estate in Gamarich, Portugal, with roaming with us and being invited. If you don't know what a conde is, it is a count. So the Count of Gamarich still exists from the 11th century, that title. And Vicky, tell us what that was like.
That was absolutely incredible. This man has pretty much single-handedly resurrected his estate from ruin, and has led his entire district in renewing that area. And God, I wanted to go back and stay in one of his rooms.
We all wanted to stay.
Because he took us to the kitchen. He led our group personally, took us to the kitchen. We had all sorts of goodies. Wine and cheese. I didn't have the wine, but I hear it was very, very good. But yeah, all the other stuff, the cheeses and the specialty meats and things, and then toured us around his estate. It was pretty darned impressive. Let's put it that way. I think we already say, okay, to heck with going on the Douro cruise. We're going to stay here. It was that wonderful and enchanting. And I've probably not presented it as well as I should have, because I've slept once or twice since then, and had chemo once or twice since then. But I think I hit the high points, didn't I?
I think so. I remember pulling up the bus was it was right after COVID, so we had a huge bus for like 17 of us. So in case anything happened, we'd have plenty of room. But we literally pull up to the estate, and you see this very stunning, majestic man walking down the road towards the front gates of the estate with an Anatolian shepherd. And everybody's like, who is this? And I'm like, oh, come meet our host. And we get off the bus, and you've never seen so many mouths drop open when we had a guide that was touring with us, and she was kind of explaining the history of Gamarich, and that's where Portugal became a country, and it was the seat of government. And she said, so to get us started, we would like to introduce you to our host. And when he came out and introduced himself as the Conde de Gamarich, everybody looked at me, and I went, Count. And the mouths just dropped open. And then we just start walking down the path, and it's like the orchards over here and the vineyards over here. And, and it's like, I've got videos of him serving spumante and all sorts of snacks from the orchard to us in the kitchen of his estate, right? And so it was just really epic. It's probably one of the most epic things we've ever done. One of the other little things that we got to do on that trip as well, that was for the group that went for the pre-tour. But when we were in Lisbon, we actually were able to, there's a chef in Lisbon with 11 Michelin star restaurants, and he closed one of his restaurants and did a private cooking lesson for 9 of us. So he and his sous chef and the 9 of us cooked in that restaurant. And between the courses, we sat down for our first course. And the next thing you know, these 2 guys walk in with guitars and sit down on the steps and start playing fado. And I'm like, it's just epic. And so we like to do little things like that.
You've got a lot to live up to here, Philip.
I'm just saying, I'm gonna have to pull the stops on this one. Yeah, but that's something that I really, really love doing. And so it's, we would love to send you traveling on all of your experiences. And I think, those of you who've traveled with us know that we're going to make sure that there's always something really amazing to do and enjoy yourself. But there just really isn't anything quite like doing a roaming with us trip. And so it is a little bit extra special. So you're paying less than everybody else. You're getting way more. and, hopefully I pull out one of these amazing, just because I knew the right person things. So there
No,
are some
not hope,
benefits.
you will. Not hope, you will.
I just wanted to say one thing because you talked about those little single cabins.
Yeah,
Please, before any of your friends book one of those, have them go look at a picture. It's like a
yeah,
single bed, and there's about this much walk room
yeah, they're
between the
tiny.
walls. They're very,
Yeah,
very, and the window is way high. You'd have to stand on the bed to look up
Mm.
out the window.
yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
Vicky does not recommend the solo cabins. She's a solo traveler, so she's tried them and she's like, nope, not doing it.
not on this ship. I
So,
haven't tried this ship. I looked at them and said, no,
yeah,
absolutely not.
they're pretty small. They're pretty small. So all right. Well, are there any other questions from anybody else out there? If
No.
not, then
Did it in an hour.
I would just like to say thank you so much for being here with us. We truly, truly appreciate it. I appreciate the time investment. For those of you who are interested in doing this, please reach out to your experience designer, and we'll get you booked. The way it typically happens is we get your booking information, we pull a cabin for you. You have a little time to look over it and make sure that everything looks the way you want it. And then we need to deposit you. They'll give us a 48-hour hold on that cabin to get you deposited. The other thing I will tell you is if you're not sure about which rate you want, as long as just go ahead and deposit on the regular one. And if you want to change to the other rate, as long as we're within that 15 months out, so until August, we can switch you to the other rate. Same thing with air. If you decide you want air, then we can switch that around. So they're flexible with that. What they're not flexible is, you've got to pay if you want to move to a different sailing. If for any reason these dates don't work for you, we work with all the major, river cruise lines. We're doing them all the time. I usually do a river cruise at least once a year, if not more. So we're everybody's very well versed in it. So just let us know. I do want to dispel a rumor that has been going around, because a television station in the Northeast had an on-air talent literally interview a travel agent and then say, oh, well, you can also, call the travel agent, let them give you all the great information and then just book it yourself because they get paid anyway. That is not how it works. That is a big lie. I don't know. I've been in the travel industry for 20 years and I've been an entrepreneur for 40 years. And I don't know anybody who's ever paid me for not, booking you directly. The other thing is if we don't book the cabin, we can't do anything for you. It's tied to whatever agency booked the cabin is who has to help you. And nobody else will have these rates unless they have a group on the ship. So please, please remind your friends.
We're the ones that have the group. So
Yeah, we have the group. But please remind your friends when they're out there traveling that, travel agents are small businesses and we're out there working and hustling like everybody else. What we do is we provide value and expertise. Even as a newer agent, like when, with Scott and Debbie joining, they can pick up the phone and call me. And if I don't know the answer, I can call somebody in the destination. I can call an executive at the cruise line. We do have a long list of benefits that you'll be hearing a ton from ASTA about because they've made this radio or this television station go on, apologize and say, no, we were wrong. And this is why you need to use a travel agent. But, there's a reason that when you log into most travel sites for anything that's really legit, it's going to say, call your travel agent or you can call us. And it's because most serious vendors really want to work through the travel agency network because we just have value, and people tend to travel more when they've used a travel agent. So we appreciate your time. We thank you very much. Thank you to the team for being here. I hope to see all of you on the river. Please, we are going to share this recording with everybody in a day or two. Please feel free to share that with your friends and have them reach out. We would love to sell out this ship. We'd love to have a really, really nice group. And I wouldn't wait. Also, if you're worried about air being expensive, yes, air is going to be expensive, just because it has been, and they don't usually make it cheaper if they can sell it for more. What I will tell you though is, with the pressure of people not traveling to Europe right now because of everything going on, we're hearing that the airlines are going to be lowering fares. So that means they're going to be less profitable because they're paying more for gas, but they are definitely seeing a difference in people going this year to Europe. I think as the year goes through, it'll kind of come down a little bit. We can't even do air for this until 300 days out anyway, so we've got plenty of time. But I would say right now, everybody that's doing air is saying, normally when they do international, they say 4 to 6 months minimum out. A lot of them are saying 30 to 45 days right now. I'm not ready to jump on that, but we will continue to keep you informed along the way. Once you're booked with us, you'll get regular updates from us of what's going on with the group. We'll do some meet and greets so we can all meet each other before the cruise and things like that. But we'll stay in contact with updates and things of that nature along the way. So, all right. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening, and we hope to see you for Christmas markets.